Oh God, this is so good. Look at that. Even though I'm gluten-free and I'm close to celiac and I don't eat any other gluten or wheat, I do eat this. And I'm gonna whisk that up. Oh my God, this is so good. All right, so the video you are about to watch is me cooking sourdough pancakes. And I'm a person who typically does not eat gluten. I have been gluten-free for 15 years. I am this close to celiac, and so I don't eat pasta, I don't eat gluten breads, I don't eat pizza, I don't eat pastries, I don't eat all those things made with wheat flour. So why and how can I eat pancakes made out of flour, wheat flour containing gluten? Okay, so that's what you're going to see and witness and learn in this video. And I'm also going to show you how I do my dishes. How I do my dishes simply, quickly, easily, and so they're clean enough. Not sterilized, but clean enough for me. And um, I'll give you my recipe for how I make sourdough pancakes and the various ingredients and equipment and stuff, all the stuff I can think of that you'll see in this video. And um, as always, I welcome your questions. I love your comments. And um, if you make these pancakes, let me know, because I made this recipe up after going to many Einkorn flour pancake websites, many sourdough pancake recipe websites, trying a bunch of them, not liking them, and coming up with my own. However, if you like cake-like pancakes, um, you probably won't like my recipe. If cake-like pancakes are your preference, you won't like my recipe. Mine are more like a thick sourdough, a thick crepe, a thick, moist crepe. Okay, hope you enjoy. Okay, I'm going to make some more sourdough starters, so I'm going to have another pancake in the morning. So I use Einkorn flour. This is it's organic. It's like sort of like an heirloom form of wheat. It's very early, non-hybridized. And even though I'm gluten-free and I'm close to celiac and I don't eat any other gluten or wheat, I do eat this. And it works because of its einkorn and because it's sour. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, actually, hold on. Okay, so if I was at home, I would probably use my gram scale and I would weigh this, because you want to put the same weight flour and water. But I don't have a scale, so I'm just going to wing it. So I'm just putting in like maybe a half a cup, something like a half a cup. Just poured a bunch of flour in there. And now I'm going to go over here and get some water. Got my little water filter here. And if I put too much water, I'll just, put more flour. And so I'm going for, since I've been making this for a while, I'm just kind of going for a consistency. Let me get out something to stir it with. I have a special stirrer. This is clean at home, but I don't have it here. Okay, way too thin. This is like soup. This is way, way, way too thin. This would be bad to make pancakes with, because when I add the egg and the yogurt, it would just get too thin. Okay, let's see how that is. So one problem with this, if I put too much in here, it can expand so much that it'll want to overflow the container. And I don't know if it could break it. It seems like it's possible that it could break it, or it could somehow leak out, ooze out. I've never had that happen, because usually when I make as much as I've made now, I would double it and put it in another container. But this is the only glass container that I brought. Okay, this is still a little too thin, but I just don't want to add more flour. Okay, so now it looks like that, kind of like pancake batter. And I'm just going to put the lid on, and I'm going to leave it out overnight. So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm just going to stick it right in here. It's going to be pretty cool tonight. Last night it got down to 57. So it's cooler than I would want it. It's cooler than the ideal, fermentation temperature, but it's going to be okay. Okay, I'm very excited about breakfast this morning. Morning. I'm going to make sourdough pancakes for breakfast. Okay, so this is my sourdough starter that I started last night. So this is very sourdough. And so, okay, here's the stove. Okay, I'm going to need my plate, a fork, something to mix the dough in. I'll mix it in this. A spatula. All right. We need ghee, salt. Okay, I need eggs and yogurt. All right, so I'm going to put in 2 eggs. Okay, I realize what I need is I need one of those. I need something where I can hook my camera up to the hatch. Wouldn't that be cool? So it's coming down from above. Okay, I'm adding yogurt. I get this yogurt, A2 from Costco. And so that's about the right amount. So just like about that much. You can see that. And then I'm going to add salt. And about a half a teaspoon, maybe. Quarter teaspoon to a half. And I'm going to whisk that up. Okay, now it's ready for the sourdough. And I'm going to heat my pan up while I do that. So this pan is hopefully well seasoned, because I don't wash it with soap. When it gets hot, I'm going to put some ghee in it. Okay, I'm going to pour the sourdough in now. So this sourdough, it's been souring overnight. Nice and bubbly. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to just put this back in the fridge. Put the yogurt away. Put the eggs away. All right. So the pan's getting hot. I can smell it. So I have found that this is the simplest way to make pancakes. You can use cottage cheese instead of yogurt. But then you have to blend it. It does not need any fat. It doesn't need any sugar. it doesn't need any leavening, obviously. Okay, this is hard. I need a knife, but I don't have one easily accessible, so I'm just going to use this. All right. Doesn't need much ghee, hopefully, because the pan should be seasoned. I'll put a little more in. It's the only problem is it's uneven because I'm parked on a slant. Oh well. Put that right there. Okay, I don't want it to be too hot because it'll burn them. All right. Okay, let's go. First pancake. All right, that's what it looks like. I almost dropped the phone into the pot. That would have been terrible. Okay. All right, so that's cooking. Okay, I'm going to set my timer for 3 minutes. I like to usually go 3. Oh, I got to get out my maple syrup and my butter. Okay, so here's the thing. It's going to be delicious, even if it's not a perfect pancake. So this is how I wash things. I'm just going to use water to wash this fork off, because Okay, so it's starting to bubble. Make sure this is tight. I do not want to drop this phone into the pancake. So it's starting to bubble, and when the bubbles are popped, maybe half of them, it's ready to turn. I think it might be too hot. I'm going to turn down the burner a little bit. If it's too hot, it'll burn on the bottom before it cooks the rest of it. All right, I'm not supposed to have coffee yet, but I can't resist. Delicious. Okay. We've got popping action happening. You can see the steam coming up. A little too soon to turn. Look at that. Okay, it's ready to turn. Don't know what's going to happen. It is sticking a bit. Oh, it's sticking a lot, actually. Not seasoned well enough. I like cooking here last night. Okay, it doesn't look right, but it's going to be okay. That was 3 minutes. My timer just went off. Oh man, this is going to be so good. Okay, nothing to do now but wait for the pancake to cook. One of the ways you can tell if a pancake is done is if it quits putting off steam. And this one's putting out a lot of steam. So the steam is the wet part evaporating or cooking. And so you know this isn't done because it's still steaming so much. This is still unlevel. Is that more level? I think that's pretty level. That's great. Okay, we're approaching 3 minutes. Still a lot of steaming going on. Could be that it's not quite hot enough. Let's turn this up a little bit. I am going to declare this done. So there's 2 things that are going to happen. First of all, let me get my butter ready. I'm going to butter this while it's really hot. And I'm also going to put some more ghee into the pan so it'll be better seasoned for this next one. Ghee is better to fry with than butter because it has a higher smoke point and it has less water. And it doesn't burn like butter does. Okay, so this is going to be 3 pancakes. All right, now I get to eat this one. Okay, normally I don't like to... Let's come back up here. Okay, under different conditions, I would be putting the maple syrup in a little bowl and dipping it into it. I can do that because I don't like it to soak into the pancake because I don't want to have too much maple syrup. And if it's on the pancake, it'll just soak in and you can't taste it that much, you know, if you pour it on it. But if I take a bite and I dip it in, then it'll be all on the surface and I'll get a lot of sweet maple syrup flavor. Without too much maple syrup. Sorry, you're not going to see it. These are so good. Sour, sweet, buttery. That's the barker. It's wonderful though. We only have one barker here. Kind of makes up for. Burning. Yeah, this one burned a bit, but it'll still be delicious. I turned it down. And they're waking up. Oh my God, this is so good. Here's the other thing I can do to have a little less maple syrup. When I eat the bite, okay, so this is the buttery side. I dip the buttery side into the maple syrup. Usually I put the extra on the next bite, and then I eat it face down so the maple syrup and the butter hits my tongue. For the premier tasting experience. Okay. Oh God, this is so good. Look at that. Oh my God, beautiful. Okay, first ghee. It's probably seasoned well enough that it doesn't need the ghee. I mean, I think this is pretty amazing that I can cook these on this stainless steel skillet. This is a Mueller with no what do you call it? No fat in the batter. I'm looking for my spatula. No fat in the batter. And I can cook it without sticking. The first one stuck just a little bit, but it wasn't a problem. Okay. When camping, you don't want to have a bunch of food waste, because what are you going to do with it? You don't want to put it out in the weeds. You don't want to go in the bathroom. Okay, there we go. I'll set my timer for 3 minutes. What? There we go. Butter. I want lots of butter this morning because it's cold. It's going to get to 80, so it's going to be really warm. Beautiful and warm, but it was a low of 57 this morning, which is plenty warm if you're like taking a walk. But if you're sitting in your Honda Element, it's cold. Okay. This morning, I'm going to go into town because my power station is out of power. It's going to be cloudy today. I have a class to teach. This one is much better than the first one. What the yogurt or the cottage cheese does is really make it light and fluffy. Incredible. Delicious. You know, with pancakes and waffles, stuff like that, often the first one doesn't turn out. I don't know why. Could be because the pan is just not at the right temperature yet. This one's really good. People are up and about. Not everybody. It's 8:19 a.m. Oh man, this is so good. So 3 is probably more than I really want. So I'm either going to eat it anyway, or that's 3 minutes. Time to flip. Yeah, I'll eat it, because the thing with being outdoors constantly is you just use a lot more energy than you do when you're indoors. And so I find myself eating a lot and getting hungry multiple times a day. So it's okay to overeat a little bit at breakfast. That's what I'm giving myself permission to do. All right, now time to clean up. Okay, coffee, not going to clean it. Butter, putting this away. Maple syrup. Let me show you inside the fridge. So here's what's in the fridge. And it's, I think a 33 liter, the one that I have. And then there's a freezer. Ice cream, of course. All right. Okay, time to clean up. So I got my soapy water and my water. This, I'm going to pour some water in and rinse out first. Got it pretty clean, but still got some goo in it. So I think we have something starting at 10 this morning. So I want to go and see if I can get my power station charged up. All right. Is a little maple syrup left. All right. Okay, then I get my little rag. Just wet it a little bit with soap. You know, these are not going to be clean to the level of like putting in a dishwasher or washing at home in a sink full of soapy water. We're not talking that level of cleanliness here, but for me, it's good enough. Now, if I was working with raw chicken, I would have a different attitude about this whole thing. That's why I'm not going to be working with raw chicken. Just a little bit. Because I don't want to risk food poisoning or something. Okay, so that's all of that. Now, that's the soap. Rinse it with water. I'm just going to put some of this stuff away. Don't even need to dry it. The soap that I use is Branch Basics, and this needs to be more. Branch Basics is wonderful. It's totally non-toxic. It's super concentrated. So I didn't need to bring as much of it as I brought. And the reason I brought it is because it says on the bottle how much to use for everything. Like for clothes washing, you use a quarter to a half of a teaspoon. And so I could have obviously made a little card and I could have written all that down, but I think it was probably toward the end of my packing and I was wanting to be expedient, so I just brought the whole bottle. Anyway, I'll show you in the description what it is because it's great. This I used last night to cook my pizza. I am not nearly as fastidious about cleaning kitchen things, like extremely carefully, as I was, I don't know, even a year ago. I also started using this method of washing things at home just to kind of get in practice for living in a van. Okay, so that's good. It's ready to go. This, don't clean it. I could season it again right now, which I think I will. There we go. So to season it, where's my fork? To season it, you heat the pan till it's pretty hot. Then you put your fat of choice. The only fat, I brought 2 fats on this trip, ghee and butter. So I'm cooking in ghee and I'm, seasoning and making delicious with butter. Okay, so it's hot. So now I'm just going to put a little bit of ghee. Let me turn this down a bit. Okay, so I am going to use the spatula to get it around. You can use a cloth. I just don't have a designated cloth for this. And then you cook it to smoke point. So you get it pretty hot till it starts smoking. And you never wash it with soap, because if you do, you'll destroy all the seasoning. Okay, and it's smoking. So that's done. All right, so I'm just going to put this down here below. All right. I'm just going to leave this all set up so it's ready for next time I cook. So this is the little tripod that I was using while I was trying to get the camera really close to the pancakes. Okay, hope you enjoyed this. How I cook, how I do the dishes right here in the tailgate of Poppy.